Hey guys, so in this video I want to show you some of the insights that we've learned from one of the ad accounts that we work with. So this one specifically, we've spent $2.864 million in advertising, generated $8.1 million back in sales. And as you can see here, that was done in a period of like less than 3 years. So you can see here in 2016, it wasn't like utilized very extensively. Then 2016, 2017, 2018, it was used. And now 2019, it's also pre-used, and we had an average return on ad spend of 286. So I want to show you some of the like insights that we had from from advertising with this account, and some of the things that you can just take and implement immediately into your own business. So these are the things that we've learned actually from from working with this account and from seeing like how it's basically exploded. This company has exploded in its particular niche. We've learned that like if you want to focus on a niche, right, that you work with, like that's much more effective than if you just like selling, a lot of people, they're selling just generic products, just any products in any niche, just whatever they want to. And then at the end of the day, like they spread all of their energy on all of these products, different products, and then they change their focus on another product, another niche, another focus, another niche. And at the end of the day, just it takes so much time to adapt to a new strategy, adapt to a new product, to a new market, that they were just spread out and they don't have a real business. So real businesses, they identify a niche that they want to work with, and then they just all in with that niche. So that's what happened with this specific account. Like it just all in, just one specific niche, one specific market, and as you can see, like pretty good results. That's just Facebook that you see here. Like there are other channels that are getting sales for this specific brand. So you can see that just focusing on one niche, you can get much better results than if you just spread all over the place. So another lesson that we've learned is if you design your funnel and experience for maximum revenue per user, which is beyond the first transaction, then you'll be successful with e-commerce. So if you design your funnel, then like in a way where it's not just first transaction, you make some money or you don't make money and then you just move on, you never contact the same customer again, then it's it will be hard for you to compete moving forward, right? It will be hard for you to compete with other people who can spend more on customer acquisition. Obviously you want to be profitable in the first transaction, you want to be as profitable as possible, but you want to design your experience for maximum revenue per user. So if you deliver a good experience to your customers, then they'll come back to you, they'll spend more money with you, and that's how you generate those like extra margins that you can invest into the growth of your business. So if you only focus on the first transaction, if you didn't have funnel, if you didn't have like that well thought experience for your brand, you have to start thinking about it and implement it in your business, because that will be your competitive advantage. So another thing that we've learned is you need to maximize your cross-sell and upsell flows for maximum profits. So if you only, if you're just focusing on the first transaction, you only focus on like selling the product, and then just never thinking about like the next steps that you want your customer to take, or maybe next products that they would also buy that would maximize your profits and your margins, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table and you're not as competitive. So if you have the main product, like just think about another product that you can sell as well to the same customer. So the easiest way to find out what other products they would buy, like is to just send a survey to your customer list, to your email list, and ask them what other brands they're buying from, right? So that's the easiest thing that you can do. You can find out like what brands they're using, what brands they're buying from. So you can reverse engineer that experience and maybe offer the same product at a lower price that would also be useful to your customers. So Another thing, and that's specifically with Facebook ads, you need to decide on voodoo, which is a magic number that will dictate how much you can spend on ads before you kill them. A lot of people just doing those, like advertising by gut, right? They think, oh, this ad seems to be doing well, I'll just leave it, right? Or this ad is not doing well, I'll kill it. Or this ad is, maybe I'll scale it, right? So they're just doing it by gut, and you cannot run your advertising campaigns by gut. You need to know specifically how much can you afford to acquire a customer. You need to identify that number for yourself, because that number is unique for yourself. So if let's say you only can spend $20 to acquire customers, then you only spend $20 on testing new things, and then if it doesn't get a sale, then you shut down, right? So a lot of people would just leave their campaigns running and accumulate those losses that when accumulated, they do not allow them to scale their campaigns as much, because they don't have any profit. So on that number, like with that voodoo number, that's how much you can afford to acquire a customer, how much you can afford to test new products, and how much you can afford basically on testing anything new in your business that would allow you to to get sufficient data at the same time, but at the same time limit your losses so you don't overspend on testing. Another thing is you have to email your list often, at least once a week. And I see a lot of people, they're afraid of just like emailing their list. They think that if they email their list too often, like their customers will alienate and will not open their emails. But if you don't email your list, your competitors email their list, right? Which is, they might be, your customers may be on the same list with your competitors, right? Your competitors are emailing them and you don't. So they're getting their attention, they're getting like their products in their hands. So you're losing out on this one. So don't be afraid to scare people with offers. I mean, like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, people can unsubscribe, right? That's pretty much the worst thing that can happen. And aim for 20% of sales to come from email. So you can use automations and you can use broadcast and regular campaigns, but combined, those should be like 20% plus of your sales. And what percentage of automation will be generated for your business will be different depending on the niche that you're in. So for some niches, your automation will generate you like 10-20%. For some niches, it will only be 5%. So you need to find out, and you need to email your list at least at the beginning, as often as possible, so you learn, okay, so that's a message, that's an offer that's working, that's a message, an offer that does not work. So you need to learn as much as possible, as fast as possible, so you can have those learning experience, so that data to basically improve your email strategy. And that 20% that come from email, that's a lot of that is profit, because you don't spend money on acquisition. So you need to think about how you can maximize your results with email, because that will also dictate how far you can scale with your brand. And then utilize chatbots and messenger ads for retargeting as another sales channel. So if you don't utilize the chatbots and messengers, you're missing on the opportunity, because that's another sales channel, just like email, that can be replicated, and you can reach new customers. You can use even the same customers as you're reaching with email, but you have much better open rates and click-through rates with chatbots and messengers. So find someone who's good at it, who specifically specializes in e-commerce, and then reach out to them, ask about like what's the best strategies for e-commerce, for e-commerce brands. So even just having like retargeting campaigns that are aimed for customers that have been like people who've been to your website, then you retarget them, and the call to action is message us, so people can message your brand and ask any questions they have about the products that may be stopping them from making the purchase decision. So that's just the basic stuff, and you can make it much more complex. You can have advanced sequences for your email and for your chatbots. So chatbot can simply emulate what you have in email. And focus on brand community aspect of business and creating like a movement with your customers, with your brand. And this is like the strongest competitive advantage you might have. So if people just buying from you because you're like the cheapest, that is not good competitive advantage. Someone will come into your market with cheaper product, with cheaper logistics, who can afford to have less margins, and then take your customers from you. So you need to create a sense of community, and that especially that comes with a niche, right? So if you're working with specific niche, you start to understand like what moves them, right? What's a main kind of like challenge that gets them to buy from your brand? Like what motivates them, or what's like common factors among your customers that get them to buy from you. So once you start understanding those things, it becomes quite easy to create that community aspect of your business, right? And so when you create that sense of community, you create like brand ambassadors, you create people who just like follow your brand like crazy, and they promote your brand, they can be affiliates for your brand. So that's where you want to be. You want to create that movement, that idea that your brand stands for. And once you have that, once you start analyzing all of these successful brands that are growing very fast, they all have that idea. It's either some benefit of the product that's unique, or that's some just some story behind the brand that people stand for. So there is something behind the brand that people stand for, and people that basically combines like all of the interests of these people that they can stand for, and they can be like a community behind that brand. So these are the 7 lessons I've learned from generating $8.1 million in e-commerce sales from one of the clients, and we had 2.86 return on ad spend with Facebook advertising. We have spent, as you can see, $2.86 million on advertising, and generated $8.76 million back. And there's many more learnings, but these are the main things that just like fundamentals that if you execute them properly, you'll get amazing results, and you'll be able to scale your brand to 7-8 figures and beyond. So this is it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.